Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this webinar regarding the roofing services framework that is being proposed by the NEUPC and NWUPC. My name is Andy Hughes. I'm the Deputy Head of Operational Procurement at the NEUPC, and I'm also the project lead for this forthcoming framework. Just a couple of housekeeping things at the start. I should note that this webinar is being recorded and may be made available to any interested parties following the webinar for transparency purposes. The webinar will be run as a presentation, so microphones and cameras have been disabled at the start. If you do have any questions, these can be submitted using the chat functionality on Microsoft Teams. At the end of the presentation, I will look at these and attempt to answer any queries that have been arisen. If there are any questions that can't be answered today, we will take those away and we will respond to all appropriate questions through the functionality on the Delta tendering portal. All of you that are attending today should have been able to register on there. If not, please contact me on the details that you should have. If there are any questions that are deemed confidential and you don't want to ask in the public chat forum, these can be submitted through the Delta Messaging Centre, but I should point out that no information will be provided that may influence or give a competitive advantage to any one bidder in the process. What we'll be covering today will be the background and the requirement, so who the NEUPC and NWUPC are, the current framework that we have in place and the supply base, the forthcoming framework, proposed regions, lotting structure, minimum standards and the evaluation criteria that will be used. And we will also have a preview of the Delta tendering system, which will be used to run the project. So first of all, who are the NEUPC and NWPC? These are the Northeastern Universities Purchasing Consortia and the Northwest Universities Purchasing Consortia. Both consortia are two of the regional purchasing consortia that are in the higher education sector. We're both not-for-profit organisations fully owned by their members, which is an important note because we should say that we do not make any profit, and any income generated by any rebates or management fees that go to the consortia is purely for the operational costs. The aim of the consortia is to award framework agreements delivering value for money to their members. The NEUPC has 23 full members. These are universities which fully own the consortia. We also have 5 associate members who also can access all the framework agreements that are in place. A full list of our membership is available at the link that's on the screen. The NWUPC, in a similar vein, has 24 full members and 6 associate members. And again, their full membership can be viewed using the link provided. Currently, in the higher education sector, we have 125 framework agreements that can be used by full members and associate members. No frameworks are mandated, but the members use them because they are proven value for money, have compliance with public contract regulations, and have met minimum standards required of all suppliers. The previous framework and current situation. Currently, the NEUPC has in place a framework agreement that has been running for just under 4 years. This covers the Northeast area, broken down into 4 separate regions. There has been limited level of take-up over the last 4 years, but this is expected to increase significantly in the next framework due to an increased amount of input by members and the expansion of the coverage to work with our colleagues at the Northwest Universities Consortia. The current framework agreement is not broken down into specialist requirements, and it covers all aspects of maintenance and repair. Moving on to the forthcoming framework, we are continuing to break it down into regions, as you will be able to see on screen. The Northeast area is broken down into 3 separate regions of Northeast, Yorkshire and Humber, and the East. The Northwest is broken down into specialist regions of Northern Ireland, Northwest, West, and the West Midlands. It's our intention to award up to 4 bidders for each of the regions for each of the specialist lots. The forthcoming framework lotting structure will be broken down into 2 separate areas. Lot 1 will be for new roofing projects and specialist systems. The aim of this is to provide provision for large projects, including new installations and the installation and maintenance of specialist systems that require certification for carrying out works under warranties. We have been made aware during the stakeholder engagement and previous supplier engagement that these specialist systems that require certification to carry out the works under warranties are being increasingly used, and so this is the reason for having a specialist lot for this. Lot 2 will cover the general roofing repairs and maintenance. This will include both preventative maintenance and reactive maintenance. It will also include aspects of gutter cleaning and ad hoc work where required. A particular focus will be on this lot for confirming awarded bidders can achieve response times to emergency call-outs and ensuring that members have coverage in their geographical region. We will also ensure that any bidders awarded can deal with multiple call-outs. No restrictions will be made on whether bidders can bid on either one or both lots. But please note that if bidding on both lots, they must be bid on separately, and these will be evaluated independently of each other. As you would expect with all public contracts, there are minimum standards and requirements that must be met. A standard set of pass-fail questions in the tender will be used, ensuring compliance with legislation, modern slavery laws, fraud, corruption, and money laundering legislation. There will also be a set of discretionary exclusion questions on health and safety, past bankruptcy, environmental issues, and if any of these do raise concerns, there must be a proven corrective actions that have been taken to allow the submission to be valid. Suppliers that are awarded will be asked to sign up to an ethical code of conduct. This is just confirming that the standards set in place during the tender process continue throughout the framework agreement period. Framework terms and conditions will be signed up to by all awarded suppliers, though we will inquire as part of the tender process if you are willing to accept JCT and NEC terms if required by people calling off. Commitment must be given to provide quarterly management information to the consortia managing the agreement, and there will be a marketing premium of 1% on this agreement. The higher education sector calls marketing premium. It may be better known to some people as a rebate or a management fee, but this purely covers the costs of managing the agreement for the consortia. We will also ask awarded suppliers to commit to register and work with the consortia on a net positive engagement tool. This tool is purely a register that creates action plans to improve responsible procurement and highlights issues you may wish to focus on in your area. Examples of this are modern slavery issues and any environmental and sustainable issues moving forward. With regards to the evaluation of the tender, as you would expect, we will be looking at both quality and pricing criteria. Quality criteria on both lots will have subsections on technical capacity and coverage, the agreement and account management, health and safety, sustainability and social value. Pricing criteria. In both lots, materials and equipment hire will be evaluated on a cost plus percentage basis. We will be putting in place acceptance of open book accounting, so this can be monitored. In terms of labour, Lot 1, we will issue a schedule of works in the tender documents, which we would expect to be priced. In Lot 2, we will be asking people to submit percentage variances against the national schedule of rates. I'll now move on to a brief preview of the Delta tendering system, following which I will pause and have a look at any questions and give people the opportunity to type in questions in the chat functionality. Once we issue the contract notice, it will appear on both our tendering portal, on Contracts Finder, and on the Finder Tender service. I will issue a link to the contract notice to all suppliers that are registered for this webinar, and anyone else can access the contract notice through searching the opportunities available. For the purpose of today, I will just go into a live notice to show you how you will have to express an interest. The contract notice will appear under roofing title, organisation name of the NEUPC and the publication date. By clicking on view, you will be able to see the further details of the notice. As most of you will know, there will be a significant amount of detail in here covering all the lots, the requirement, timescales, and expected expenditure. Going down, the links to the individual lots will be available near the end of the notice, and as I have pointed out previously, you must express an interest separately for each lot you wish to bid on. The lot links will be displayed as this section here, and there will be a separate link to express an interest on each lot. By clicking on the link, you will be taken to the individual tender box where you can then register an interest. I should point out that to get into this screen, you must not be logged in at the time. You will be asked to log in as part of the process of registering an interest. I'll just log into a demonstration system to show you how the process will further work. Once you've logged in, all the information for the project will be in the Response Manager section. We've accessed that section. A list of the projects that you've been involved in either previously or currently will be displayed, and you should identify the correct lot, which will be clearly identified. Once clicking into this, the first screen you'll see will hold all the documentation. So this will include any covering letters, ITT documents, terms and conditions, and codes of conduct. You can access these as with any other functionality by clicking on them and downloading them. Section 2, which can be accessed by clicking on that tab, will be the online questionnaire. All the questions that will be asked for this tender process can be responded to online, and that is how we will ask you to submit the documents. Once you've completed all the sections, you can move to section 3 and submit the response. Any sections which show an arrow next to it which says required are mandatory to be completed. Which show pass/fail aren't scored questions. They are either you have to provide the responses or meet the criteria to pass the requirement. Sections which are scored will show the weighting of that question and the weighting that can be achieved by getting full marks. The pricing section will be done by providing an Excel spreadsheet which must be downloaded and completed. Once completed, you will be able to click on Choose Files and upload the appropriate documentation back to the database for submission. Once you've completed all the questions and uploaded the spreadsheet, you can proceed to stage 3. This will give you a preview of any sections which you have yet to complete by showing the red cross next to it. Any completed sections will have a green tick. Once everything is completed and has green ticks, you will then be presented with a button which states Submit Response. If you have any queries or clarification requests during the tender process, the Message Centre is available to submit those questions. Into it, as with most email functionality, you can put subject and include the message, and any attachments can be provided before you click Send Mail. Answers and copies of sent items will appear at the bottom of the screen, and you should receive email notification for any received responses. That concludes the demonstration of the Delta system. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, you are welcome to put them into the chat functionality. I'll take a few moments to allow anyone to submit those and pause to address them. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. We do appear to have only had one question, which is, can I please go over the regions again? And is each lot broken down further into these regions? Certainly. I will just display my screen again. So, as I previously said, we have two separate specialisms for the projects and specialist systems and for the preventative and reactive maintenance and general roof and repairs. Each of these specialist lots will be broken down into the separate regions. As you can see, the lot numbers are displayed on the left-hand side. So Lot 1, which is the projects and specialist systems for the region of the North East, will be Lot 1A. For the similar specialism for the Yorkshire and Humber, this will be Lot 1B. For the East, it will be 1C, and so on. For the Lot 2 specialism of reactive and preventive maintenance and repairs, the same region will be Lot 2A, Yorkshire and Humber 2B, and East 2C, and so on. We will be looking to award up to 4 suppliers for each of these regions. It may be that the same suppliers are awarded to both lots, but this is dependent on the evaluation process and the bidding that is taking place. Suppliers can bid for one region or all regions or any combination, and may also bid for Lot 1 specialism or the Lot 2 specialism. I hope that answers the question, but if there are any further questions at all, please feel free to submit them through the Delta functionality, and I will respond within the appropriate timescales. Moving forward, we are hoping to publish the contract notice in around 2 weeks' time. There will be 30 days for bidders to complete the documentation and respond. Following the evaluation process, we do hope that we will be able to award the framework and launch it at the start of the year. Thank you all very much for joining us today, and I hope it's been informative for you.